If you're a parent, teacher, or school leader, and you're sick and tired of the frustration, anger, and unfair treatment of children at high risk in our public schools, then perhaps it's time for all of us to do something about it. In this podcast, Dr. Amitra Berry brings you tips, tools, strategies, and tactics to build successful solutions while touching, moving, and inspiring all of us to transform our schools so that every child thrives. Here's your host, Dr. Berry.
Hey there, Equity Warriors. Thanks for joining me today. I am glad you are here for our little bit of time. You know, I keep hearing woke, right? It's woke curriculum, it's woke discipline, it's woke this, what's that, woke that. And so, pardon me, because this time I am going to say it. What the fuck is woke? What is this? We have we keep falling victim, I suppose, to a group of people who want to label everything that is good for all children as being something that it's not. There's a sign I have over my desk that says caucasity is non-melanated people claiming that their children are being harmed by hearing about racism, but somehow children of color, and Black children more than any other, aren't being harmed by experiencing racism. Caucasity. And that's what they have. What is woke? It started, oh my gosh, there's this cultural appropriation that takes place. And as a part of the Black culture, it was about consciousness and being conscious of our history and aware of our history and who we are as a people. And conscious became woke because the blinders were off, so to speak. Our eyes were open. We were fully awake and understanding where we were in this world, in specifically in the United States. And then white people became woke, a better term, one that I prefer to use, and that is that those white people are allies. I and call this controversial, and I'm sure it will be for some. I don't think that white people can be woke because they haven't had the experiences of people of color, right? But you can be allies, and you can be aware of what's going on. But what they're calling woke and what they're calling critical race theory is, again, I'll go back to, it's the boogeyman, right? Those are their boogeyman words. Critical race theory is about looking at structures and centering race as we examine those structures and using that to understand, for my purposes, educational inequities. It helps us make sense of why Black and brown children are being suspended and expelled more often, why Black, white, brown, white, Southeast Asian, white achievement gaps are persistent and pervasive. In understanding CRT in education, we know that race is a significant factor in determining inequity in our school systems. We live in a society that is based on property rights. And if you don't believe me or you're not certain about that, go back and listen to, I think it was episode 3, 4, somewhere around there on the Teaching Hard History. And when we look at the intersection of race and property, it helps us to analyze and understand social inequity. When we do that, as we understand those things, we become much more aware or conscious. Curriculum can't be woke. There's no such thing as a woke curriculum. What they're calling woke or woke curriculum is anything that's got people of color or LGBTQ people in it used as exemplars or as authors or in the stories or in the models, even in math problems. I think it was Florida who rejected a textbook, a math textbook, because there were some word problems that had something to do with, I remember seeing this and thinking, I don't have a beeper. What the heck? It was a word problem in math that looked at a black-white achievement gap. It's there. There's no denying. So why is that a problem? Just because we have a conversation about race, just because we want to talk about or recognize that someone is being treated differently because of the way they look, because of their skin color, that doesn't make you a racist. And believing that they are being treated differently because of their race and having these conversations about race isn't woke. It's not indoctrinating children. So what the is woke? And why do we allow people to create that narrative and foment hate behind it? There are some things we need to do, equity warriors. There are some things we need to do. We need to get out to our school board meetings. We need to demand, not request, but demand that everyone on staff in our school districts get diversity education so they can understand the history and the impact of racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia. We need to be emailing our superintendents and school board members and SUPs and school board members that are on here with me. Thank you for being here. You don't need them emailing you. You have the power to do this, right? If the first equity indicator is meritocracy, you have the power to do what's right for children. But if you're a parent or someone else and your school board is not listening to me or your superintendent is not tuned in, email them. Go to board meetings. Request that any new curriculum materials adopted or approved accurately represent the histories and include diverse narratives about race, gender, sexuality in the U.S. and in the world. But let's get accurate about our history. Share this information if you're a parent and your teacher's not tuned in. Share this information. Share this podcast with your teachers. Some of what they're calling woke. One thing that they're calling woke is about socio-emotional learning, right? But nobody had a problem with understanding socio-emotional learning when it was Maslow's hierarchy or 21st century skills. But somehow, for no good reason other than politics, SEL is now wrapped up in CRT. But SEL is really just about teaching children how to handle their emotions. Good Lord, these adults need socio-emotional learning. We're teaching or trying to teach children how to make good decisions, how to collaborate, how to understand themselves, how to work with people who may not think like them. All 50 states, all 50 have SEL standards in preschool. More than half of them have standards of some form of character education at K-12. Non-cognitive skills, in the adult world, they call them soft skills. I bet you have them. If you work in corporate America, take a look at whatever your annual evaluation criteria is. What is your boss evaluating you on? I bet you somewhere in there are some soft skills, things like self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, or responsible decision making. And that's great if you're in the corporate world, but heaven forbid we teach our children those things, because that's that CRT boogeyman. But we know that when we teach children to be socially competent in kindergarten, they are more likely to graduate from high school on time. They are more likely to complete a college degree. They are more likely to get a stable job. Purely economically, we know that SEL programs, for every dollar spent on an SEL program, there's an $11 benefit to communities through the reduction in crime, higher earnings, better health. But we have states, I'll pick on Florida again, because this one I know. Florida, when they did their social studies textbooks, here's the quote: critical race theory, social justice, culturally responsive teaching, social and emotional learning, and any other unsolicited theories that may lead to student indoctrination are prohibited. That's what they said to publishers. Publishers that are out there, you may know this. What we're doing is preventing our children from having opportunities. All of the injustices and inequalities that students and young people face outside of the classroom, political disenfranchisement, they're not going to have the tools, the soft skills to deal with those things because of this boogeyman woke curriculum. It's an embargo of skills development. It's an embargo of opportunity. You know what an embargo is? An embargo is when the government places an order to restrict or block the exchange of goods. In this case, the exchange of knowledge. The goal or the intent of an embargo is to isolate and to create difficulty. So I'm going to use that term now because the barriers that are isolating Black, Hispanic, Indigenous American, and low-income students from getting experiences and resources that will lead to their success in school and life, that embargo is coming from local and state governments that say, can't prove because they can't even tell you what CRT is. It's all woke curriculum. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Continue to join me every week. Send me your questions, topics, and requests to askdrberry.com, and I will answer those questions and bring you experts to help address those topics. Let's not worry about things we cannot change. Let's go out and change the things we can no longer accept. I'll see you next time.
That's it for today's episode of the 3E Podcast. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. One lucky listener every single week that posts a review on iTunes will win a chance in a grand prize drawing to win a $25,000 value private VIP day with Dr. Berry herself. Be sure to head over to 3epodcast.com and pick up a free copy of Dr. Berry's gift. Then join us on the next episode.